I get why people have intros. Oh, here's our beautiful Captain America. Okay, here we are, kind of session 2 of this wacky challenge. Thor seems to be gaining 1 magic point per level. Cap has only high level magic but hasn't learned the spells yet. Iron in a really weird spot with magic. Luke is better at high level magic he hasn't learned. Thor and Cap are kind of monsters. Iron and Luke are not. Iron still has 0 strength. Luke can at least do some damage. Now you might notice, if you have been following this, that the Game Genie codes I swapped a little bit. There's so much stuff I want to afford and so little understanding of these characters that planning gold sucks. Also grinding sucks. So I made it so that imps give much, much more money. So basically I can grind for money anytime I want here. Also, imps have that experience bonus thing again. And I found one that is from Polygon's codes, posted on Game FAQs. Polygon is a real genius with the games that he understands, at least. That's a weird thing to say. Polygon is someone whose acquaintance I sort of made on the FF1 board back when he was a regular, and he's really knowledgeable about the games he professes to know about. So that's good. So yeah, that code is, even if a party member dies, they still gain experience. And the idea there is Luke can now level up. And that'll, I imagine, be helpful for future VYUOKITE runs. And I expect there will be future VYUOKITE runs. Part of the reason I wanted to play tonight, though, when, you know, I do have other things in my life to do, like sleeping. But yeah, part of the reason is that it's almost June, and there's that thing, and I've seen it, and I'm aware of it, but never participated in it before, the Final Fantasy V 4-job fiesta. And yeah, that's something I'd like to do in June, so that's kind of the plan. I guess I have a lot of money now. I've fought 2 groups of imps and gained 24,000 gold, so that's nice. Luke and Iron are still pretty inconsistent. Well, especially Iron. I guess Iron has probably still a damage stat of quite possibly 0. Is it 0? I do have that script that'll show the party's stats on the screen. But I have it turned off. I fixed it slightly, but I haven't done anything fancy with it. I don't think I'm going to use it yet. What is Iron's damage? 0. Still doing 1 damage. I don't know exactly how that is. I mean, the formulas used in this game are pretty well documented, but there's a funny behavior with, for example, the Black Mage in the unmodified game, such that they have a 1 added to their magic damage. Nope, physical damage. What am I talking? I'm not concentrating on what's happening here. I want Thor to learn Lit too. Apparently he can, so that's nice. I want Cap to learn Hold. Oh. Cap to learn Fire? He can. See, that's a little silly. I don't know. I'm thinking of Lego Avengers. My son got Lego Avengers a while ago. And it's nice in Lego Avengers. Captain America, his thing he can do is, one of his things he can do, they make these kind of arbitrary barriers so that you're forced to use certain characters. And one of them happens to be that Captain America can put out fires using his shield. Okay. Cure 2. I I don't really know about my strategy here. Let's just... Oh. Cap can learn A Fire. I guess that makes sense with what I just said. And heal, but not the others. That's different. Sure, Thor can learn that. I don't have a plan, so let's just go with whatever here. Oh. Luke? Makes sense that the Unbreakable Man would be able to resist fire. Maybe heal someone. Can he learn them all? No, he can't learn harm. Not sure why that is. Okay, let's take a look at our magic screens here. Alright. There's almost sort of theming. I mean, I try to give them appropriate magic, but the theming hasn't really worked out. The Unbreakable Man has like 6 HP. Used to be very evasive, but yeah, I identified. I talked about this on the FF1 board on Game FAQs recently. I'm pretty sure that what we were seeing with the evasion in the first session was a form of integer rollover, where characters were starting with 255, or no, they were starting with 0 defense, because Iron and Luke both started with stats of all 0. And, ooh, nice. Can everybody learn that? I would think Captain America could learn fast. I should probably give something to these guys. Level 4 white magic is terrible, so sure. Okay, maybe I need to go kill more imps. Perfect. Alright, Captain America now has all this magic and nothing to use it on. And you don't have very much magic. Luke does, right? Oh, not really. Boy, that's silly. So yeah, the reason the Game Genie codes are on is for convenience. And it's because I like to think, that was a funny animation there, that we are observing how these characters are working. And I'm just going to check. My phone keeps buzzing. I'm a little panicked here. Okay, that's actually very positive. That's good. Sorry. Unprofessional of me. Yeah, we're observing the way these characters are growing with these unpredictable stats. And that's kind of the fun in this. At least I think it's the fun in this. So that's why that I have codes that enhance experience and allow dead people to gain experience. It's not just for beating the game. There's almost no question that beating the game would be pretty easy at appropriate levels. I mean, Captain America and Iron, they're strong, but they have barely any equipment, and they don't seem to be able to equip anything new very much either. So my odds of getting through the end of the game right now would actually be probably fairly terrible. That said, I find this pretty interesting. The levels are going to be very necessary for Iron and Luke to be capable. Why did I do that? Oh, that's fine. Capable of anything, so yeah. I'm gonna reply to the text. I don't know you people anything. Luke, level 8, now has 9 hit points, so that's encouraging. He's gaining more than 1 HP per level, where he used to have 5 HP at level 6. He has a sprite now-ish. Certain things are very unpredictable, and I have to tell you this. I considered doing an interlude session where I at least reviewed the stats the way I'd calculated them. Because there was a Google Doc, and I was telling you about this in the previous videos, where I tried to predict the stats and future behavior of a few things. And that set of predictions I made turned out to be very bad. Was not effective at all, and I'm surprised by it. I thought there was possibly like a couple lines error, and that I was maybe slightly off with regards to Iron and Luke, because I tried to pick characters that would be survivable, and Luke was terrible at the beginning. I mean, Iron was too, but he got better quickly. No, somehow that's not as predictable as I expected. I kind of thought once you go past the index of 6, which is the number of character classes you're normally allowed, we kind of thought it would roll into the next row of data, and you see the stats for the promoted characters. And we know from a number of hacks and things that if you start the game with, say, a level 1 knight, which is a promoted fighter, it works properly, except that they have 0 HP and a few other oddities. So, yeah, we expected it would keep going down the table, and the first few classes do behave the way you might expect and all that. And then after a while, it doesn't work anymore. So, not sure why that is. I don't know what the data is that it's pointing at. I know what the data is in the order it's in the ROM, but after a certain point, it stops working. And I keep saying point, which is funny, but it's probably something to do with pointers, that the data is somewhere else and somewhere possibly that isn't static or predictable. Without it being in RAM, I don't know why that would be, but generally I'm not understanding things, and I'm just going to be okay with that. That's going to be my policy. Okay, Luke died. The Ice 2 animation is now a lightning-based animation. Which I think we saw. I think Fire also uses a lightning-based animation. That seemed, and I could be wrong here, that seemed stronger than it should have been. Am I wrong? I don't usually expect Ice 2 to cleanly kill a bunch of creeps. Wouldn't it be weird if these weird hacked together classes somehow fixed the intelligence bug or whatever? Level 4 white magic, I think, is just skip it altogether. And see if everyone can learn fast. Nice. Is there anything useful in level 4 white magic? I don't remember. There's one of those anti-spells, A-Ice or something. Someone would try and talk me into getting A-mute here. I guess confusion sometimes is fun. Okay, that works for him. It works for Cap too. Okay, we got pretty good level 4 magic. That's all the things we'll need for a while. Oh, well, the one thing we do need, and I'm near it, is a way to cure poison. So I have to buy at least a handful of cure potions, I think. Buying the pure spell is always pretty silly. If it was like Asuna, like in future Final Fantasy games, that would actually be pretty handy for this price. Being able to cure status problems in battle. Unfortunately, it's not. It only cures poison, and the number of pure potions you can buy for the cost of the pure spell is ridiculous. I always think magic is too expensive in this game. If you have a magic heavy party, it's certainly a bit of a barrier. If you feel you want to fill up the spell book, it's terrible. And you don't see that in future Final Fantasies. I kind of wonder where the numbers come from. So many things in this game are rooted in very old editions of D&D. And I wonder if that could be possibly also an origin for those things. I don't even know why I think I need that many heal potions. Am I going to have that kind of problem? Maybe buy a couple of cabins just for remote saving. I don't think I need a house. I'll buy one soft just in case. It's always funny that soft potion. I find it fun. Soft potions don't work outside of battle. I don't really understand what the limitation was. I'm pretty sure hackers have gotten that to work pretty easily, actually. I guess we're going to do the Marsh Cave now, because I'm headed in that direction. It's the next thing, and the party's certainly strong enough, so let's do it. This is basically pulling out a bit. Oh, wait, one guy's dead. That seems like something that should be... You know what? It's Luke. Maybe we'll just leave it. Yeah, except Iron has terrible damage. Luke at least can kill things. I think I should go revive Luke. The Unbreakable Luke Cage, indeed. I've never read Luke Cage comics. I haven't watched the Luke Cage series on Netflix either. But an unbreakable character always seems to me like something that would be uninteresting. For one thing, there's weird questions, like what would happen if he required an intravenous? Or what would happen if he had diabetes and needed to do his test strips or something? So many things are weird about that. I find Superman really uninteresting in general, and not really a Superman fan, but a character with that much power and that much invulnerability, how do you rate that interestingly? And I'm sure there have been interesting stories, but it just doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, Batman appeals to me, and I think that's rooted in he's an ordinary person with extraordinary circumstances. That's interesting. You can make that, the good writing kind of comes naturally with that. Sort of the same with Iron Man, but to a lesser extent, and that's because, well, I mean, they're both millionaires. And I guess they're both geniuses, but everyone knows it with Tony Stark. They don't all know it with Bruce Wayne. Anyway, flawed human-like characters, I think, are interesting, and invincible characters, I think, are not. So I don't know what makes Luke Cage interesting. I'm sure it's not as bad as for some reason I'm thinking it is. I like Luke Cage when I watch Jessica Jones. For some reason my monitor seems very slanty. Maybe that'll be a little better. I almost wonder if I should use a heal potion on Luke, get him back up to 9. How's the armor situation here again? It's bad. The armor situation is bad. I have some things I could buy, but you know what? It's not going to make a damn difference. As long as Luke's covered as best he can be, that's really all that matters. Oops, well, whatever. Actually, that wasn't a whatever situation. I was thinking of Iron, who's a terrible, terrible attacker. The other thing that's funny is these messed up graphics. I was talking earlier about the things that were unpredictable. The messed up graphics are unpredictable. You might remember when I was choosing my classes, Cap appeared as a black mage and everyone else appeared blank. And then it was different when I got to the stores, and it's been different in battle. Sometimes it differs battle to battle. I don't know why that is. And for the record, besides those 3 quality of life Game Genie codes that are listed, there's actually no Game Genie codes on besides those 3. So different codes than I used before. The actual VYUOKITE code is no longer on. I've now just picked my classes and I'm playing without any more VYUOKITE. I'm trying to corrupt the memory of the game as little as possible from here on out, while still basically taking advantage of it where I arbitrarily deem useful. Luke has a fun sprite when he celebrates. He turns from invisible to kind of a blue sheet. The Marsh Cave is normally kind of sucky. I don't think I'm going to have any problems. I may as well explore the whole thing. I'll use a cabin outside just in case, but what could possibly go wrong? .43 on a critical, that's pretty sad. Oh. Okay, we're gonna do the Marsh Cave without Luke after all. I used to love running into Geists back in the day when I was like 9 and playing this. They seemed really easy. They don't hit too hard. They give a lot of money. When you run into them during that Elfland grind, it feels really good. This is a big enemy party. If I recall correctly, and I might not, why would I use this? The bones have like 10 HP. Let's just get it done. Iron might even be able to do something against them. I think the number's actually 10. I wonder what happens when Iron criticals. Probably very little. So let's see if Iron can take one out this turn. That would be fun. Woo! I'm glad he's got so many hits right now. Chances are he'll lose that after he gains a level, because that hit percentage number rolls over frequently. Yeah, I often use, I think I just said this in one of the other videos, but I use integer rollover in video games as examples for my students. And I talk about the thing with Ultima in Final Fantasy VI, where if you get a high magic character like Cell is high enough, equip her with a little bit of magic boosting equipment, and cast Ultima, you'll start seeing it do pitiful damage. And that's not because of anything other than it's rolled over the maximum damage value the game can hold. And although the maximum value the game can display is 9999, the maximum damage value the game holds is 65535, which is the highest value of a 4-byte number. What happens with these guys? Oh, goodness. Okay, no problem. The green ones are the ones who are kind of jerks. Yeah, so the game still stores it as a number up to 65535, but if you exceed that number, it goes back around to 0 and starts counting up again. So it's possible to see it's the only way it's possible to see the Ultima spell doing like 3-digit damage, which in that game is very poor. There's also some good integer rollover of some sort in Final Fantasy VII, but I'm not as much an expert there. Not that I would call myself an expert on any of these games, I guess. There is a game I'm an expert on. I haven't done anything on Twitch with it yet. What a waste of time these fights are. You think they must have included this fight for like thematic reasons? Because it's not, it shouldn't be a problem for any party at this point, right? It just... Then again, I guess in modern gaming, no random encounters are really problems for the party. It's just the wear down before the boss. It's funny playing a game like, say, Final Fantasy X, and if you think, like, why am I fighting this? Usually there's no good answer. This will be interesting, I think. I think they might have high enough damage that they might be able to damage it. Do these guys have 255 defense? Or oh, they do. Crud. Okay, we need magic. Thor has some. I hope ice is useful. I mean, it won't. It'll do more than the attacks anyway. But lightning-based ice. That was very strong. What do you do? I guess I'm getting these, what is it, for fun? Because, like, what, I get a lot of money from fighting imps. Maybe I should use ice again, just to save time. Be a rotten shame if these guys got stunned again. There's been some discussion on the Final Fantasy board on Game FAQs recently about the automatic retargeting that happens in modern Final Fantasy games, but even in modern remakes of this game. And by modern, I mean as far back as Final Fantasy Origins, which was a PlayStation 1 title. And so in this game, if you choose to attack an enemy, and the enemy is dead when your turn comes up, you don't hit another enemy. You just swing at nothing, and it doesn't do anything useful. And I think the idea there is it's like, think of the battle as an actual battlefield and not just a group of monsters that stands in front of you. And as you approach that monster, if someone else shoots an arrow at it and kills it, you don't get to pick another monster. You dash towards it across the battlefield, and that's your turn. So I think that's the idea. Anyway. It also makes the battles considerably more strategic, and it adds a lot of value to area effect spells. And those are still valuable in future Final Fantasy titles and other games, but this makes it count a bit more. It's so possible in future Final Fantasy games to hold A and win. From a fairly early point in the series, really. So that diminishes it a bit. This game is really easy. If you play Final Fantasy Origins, it's quite easy. If you play newer versions, it's stupidly easy. Like some kind of... I'm sure my 5-year-old son could beat the game in a couple hours. Like, it's idiotically easy. There's a lot more to explore. They added content, but they didn't balance the content in any way. In fact, they now have life-replenishing items readily available. There's monster drops. The game wasn't rebalanced in any way to accommodate that. There's a lot of new weapons and armor. The levels go up to 99 instead of 50, and the experience curve compensates for that, which is kind of nuts. I want to save time. Let's use a harm spell. And we'll get to see what the animation's like. Um, the spell levels go up way higher. They use an MP-based system that allows you to cast spells much more readily, less budgeting of the magic. Generally, the newer versions, the mobile version, the Android version, the Steam version. Is there Steam? There's no Steam version yet. I'm sure there will be. But they are... it's not like they're terrible in quality, but they're not fun to play. They're a curiosity, I suppose, for someone interested in the origins of this popular series, but otherwise there's not really a lot of merit to them, I think. They're really quite awful to play. The gameplay is so trivial. It's like... I don't know. What's an example of something where you do something stupidly easy and I don't know. It'd be like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer was taking the karate class with children. That was strange. You don't do karate against children as an adult. It's that. It's karate with children. That's what the newer versions of Final Fantasy are. Anyway, the auto-targeting is a part of that. There's no option to turn off the auto-retargeting in the newer remakes I was discussing, but there is in Final Fantasy Origins, so you can turn it off and still swing and miss. It makes the combat a little more strategic. I mean, I have to be a little more manual with things, but that's not a terrible thing. Shouldn't you control the game you're playing? The game you're paying to play? Generally? I'm not saying I'm not paying for this. I do still have my card in the basement. I'll show you sometime. I actually recently hooked my NES back up with an audio-video cable that I've never done with my NES before. And that was because my wife said, I really want Tetris, and I got her a copy of Tetris for her birthday recently. Fun to play, but I have a lot more fun playing Dr. Mario. Versus mode doesn't hurt. What treasure's here? Is there a copper bracelet for me somewhere? I'm probably just going to go to all the chests that show up empty because of all the bugginess, basically. The bug here, and I discussed it in my last run, but the deal is there are treasure chests that are pointing to the same value. So if you pick them up in one place, and then you go to the other place, they show up empty. You've technically already got the item from it, but you only get one copy, not two, so... whatever. I'm really just excited to get to new towns and try equipping people. I wonder if someone might be able to equip a buckler. That would be a treat. Bucklers are a shield, but they're a shield that most classes can use. The thief and the red mage can use one at least. So, with my people not having very good equipment options, a buckler might be a useful improvement. Not something that'll revolutionize my stats or the way I play the game, but it'd be a treat. I do want to have interesting equipment options, and I thought I was going to get them with this kind of playthrough, but I wonder if maybe it's because I picked all characters that are equipment. I mean, Thor is the Thor hammer, Cap is the Cap, Iron is the Iron armor, and Luke is the power staff. So maybe if I pick people who aren't weapons and armor, I'll get different and better options. I have a few teams lined up for future playthroughs. Then again, I might take a bit of a break from it for the 4-job fiesta or whatever else comes my way in the near future. I'm gonna kill the guys that can poison me. The arachnids can poison, the spider can't, which in modern translations is weird, and it's a modern translation, but it's based on the original Japanese text. The original Japanese text is weird. The ones that can poison you are called tarantulas. Tarantulas are not poisonous in real life. And the ones that can poison you are called black widows, I believe. Could be wrong. Might be giant spider. But I think it's black widow. Black widows can poison you. In fact, they should do like a death touch like a sorcerer does in this game. A mind flayer, if you will. I just said it's somewhere between mind flayer and mind flare. I guess that's Final Fantasy Tactics coming at us. May as well look at all the rooms. I mean, it's not like I'm going to lose. In my last game, I lost a couple times. This game, I don't expect it. That guy did some damage. I mean, I guess Cap has terrible equipment, but... I could be harvesting Luke's equipment for him, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Oops. Force of habit. Ooh. Among the different classes you can use in this kind of playthrough are the gold values that seem to be the gold values that appear in treasure chests in the game, at least I believe that's the case. So it lets you pick things like 295. That's your class. And there's one of those ineffective swings I was talking about. I've probably had others since I talked about that, but Cap's damage is so high. And then I guess that's based on his strength, because he's still equipped with a wooden staff. But his damage is 135. Even if he only hits a couple times, he still does reasonable damage. I wonder what the wizard battle will be like. I wonder if they'll make any trouble for me. They hit hard. They could probably down Iron or Cap fairly easily. I wonder if that was a spiked square. I think it might have been. Spiked square being a square where a certain encounter type always happens. House. Nothing. Let's just run. This is stupid. We might actually want that ice magic on our way back to Elfland. It's a pretty long walk, right? There's no sprint shoes in this game. There is a B button dash in all those remakes I was discussing. Oh, copper bracelet. That's actually kind of useful, right? Ooh. No need to cannibalize equipment from it. Technically, it would still benefit from the gloves, but that's not really... Or the cap, sorry. Not really a big deal, is what I was going to say. Giving a cap to Cap. I don't know if the sprites are changing regularly, but Thor's almost starting to look humanoid. Maybe that's just exposure. Like when you have a cat for a long time, you start to kind of... That's probably not a real thing. I'm going to just not talk like that anymore. I was going to say something weird, probably. Why not? See, that was some heavy hitting, right? I mean, it's not going to matter, but it was some heavy hitting. Wow. So that's normally a big deal. That square can have 2 wizards, 3 wizards, or 4 wizards. I got 4. in my last run, that would have been like, well, wait, did I beat 4 last time? I think I might have. Use a few heal potions. Just to make sure we don't all die. Now Luke, I guess, is still gaining experience for what it's worth, which isn't much. I don't care that much. That's a consideration. Anything over here? Empty? Yeah. And the bottom row, I think, are all locked by the Mystic Key. I'll check, may as well. I'm very poison resistant, probably. I was going to say I'm very poison resistant. I decided to qualify that with the word probably, because it's based on this hidden stat that's basically your magic defense. So this is a magic key door, Mystic Key. Magic defense is a stat that's calculated a similar way to hit rate, which we've seen rolling over for some of these characters. And so you gain a certain amount depending on your class, each level up. And for the classes in the unmodified game, the most you ever gain per level is 3. But if you're gaining, say, 60, eventually it's going to go over the top of the value, which is 255, and go back to 0. So sometimes my characters are very poison resistant, other times not. A typical endgame character could have anywhere from, I don't know, I guess it ends up being about 50 probably at endgame for some of the characters. The fighter has very high magic defense, and so he's more resistant to status effects and things like that. I think my Astos fight is going to be pretty anticlimactic. I guess most of this run is pretty anticlimactic. It'd be neat if, things suddenly changed at some point. I guess they could, but I kind of love to see Iron dealing damage. That'd be novel. Final Fantasy series and the mainstream titles don't remix a lot of the music that often. I mean, the prelude and everything, that appears in a lot of games. The victory music appears in a lot of games. They sort of use the Gurgu volcano music in Final Fantasy IX. But it's funny that they don't do that more often. And I think that because I think of this March Cave music as pretty iconic. I remember thinking it had the right feeling of panic when I was young, and this was the pinnacle of video game music. It's just funny that, that's not something they would remix and utilize in modern Final Fantasy titles. Now, if you get into things like Dissidia, there's a good chance of that, but I've never played those games. When they were announced, I was really excited, but I was a non-PSP owner, and now a non-PS3 or PS4 owner. Haven't had the opportunity to play those. I remember the first time seeing the Dissidia trailer, I thought it was just going to be amazing. I guess to some people it is. Cap gaining strong levels. Thor has over 500 HP, which if you're not very familiar with this game is pretty absurd, especially for level 10. Some of the classes will never get close to 500 HP. The classes have a pretty big HP disparity at the end of the game, or at the max level, which is different from the end of the game. The fighter can get to 999. The black belt I think always gets to 999. But Black Mage, I'm pretty sure they can be in like the 300s in those high levels. I might be wrong. I don't remember the last time I leveled a Black Mage to level 50. Where level 50 is the maximum in this game. Maximum levels are funny things. Some games they just make it, I guess, whatever fits, like Phantasy Star 4. There's no reason anyone should ever conceivably approach level 99, but you can get up to level 99, at which point apparently nobody tested it because everything goes very, very, very glitchy when you get to level 99 in Phantasy Star 4. But even leveling to 50 is excessive in that game. A cap of 50 would have solved some problems, frankly. I remember being surprised when I played Super Mario RPG the first time. The max level is 30. I mean, it was a short game, but that still seems really low. And very attainable in normal gameplay, if I recall correctly. This will be interesting. I guess there's some possibility that someone will be instantly killed by Astos here. Well, under the assumption that Thor gets killed, because that could happen, the odds are Thor is more likely to get killed by Astos' first attack than Cap is. He is fast on Cap, so that Cap has better offense. Oh, okay. Well, that was very dramatic. This is one of those moments where I kind of want to say, this stupid game, but it's entirely me, right? Using this VYUOKITE thing. So now I've got the crown and the crystal. Need to trade my crystal for some herb. Oh, this is going to be dumb. Casting Ice 2 on a nearly dead wolf. A wolf that goes grr. 128 damage. That does seem higher than normal damage from the ice spell. I mean, I could be wrong. Oh, Luke gained real HP. That's intriguing. Huh. Did he just get his first strong level up, or was it the previous one? I mean, he has like 35 HP, but his usefulness is going to shoot up. And that's verifying, by the way, because I wasn't being very careful about it before. Luke is gaining experience even though he's dead, and that's because of that third Game Genie code I mentioned there. Zivspinlav. Some of the Game Genie codes are very, very pronounceable. You could probably even just remember them because they're pronounceable. A pretty good code for the beginning of Final Fantasy 1, for example, is Gaxolite, which is kind of like a remix of Galaxy, or like a Mega Stone for a Galaxy Pokemon, something like that. Gaxolite. We're going to revive Luke, who now might even stay alive for a little while, so that's kind of fun. Go to the inn, get some help. Also save. Remember to hold reset when you turn the power off. No, I'm in the wrong place. I have to go see the witch now. Cast a bunch of spells, just try to end the fight as fast as I can. Not because I'm afraid of wolves, but because they are boring. I'm starting to feel tired, it's not even 11 yet. It'd be interesting to be one of those guys who could stream for a longer amount of time. I don't think my lifestyle allows it. I'm on some... What was I going to say? Teenager? Some teenager, as if teenagers are a bad thing. Without teenagers, I wouldn't be in a very good place. Iron just did 9 damage in 5 hits. That's also kind of interesting. I wonder if he's gained a damage stat. Happened twice. That's encouraging. He did. He is 1 damage now. Whoop-de-doo. 1 damage. That's an infinite improvement over 0. What that means is he can now do up to 2 damage per hit. That's pretty incredible. Up to 2. Maybe he can kill an imp in a single turn. Statistically, it must be possible. Luke at least gets real weapon. 7 damage, that's very close. Imps in this game have 8 HP. We're all going to attack that guy except Iron. I don't think it's Iron's first imp kill, but nearly. First one in a while. Oh, I forgot, these imps give me all that delightful money. This is a good song too. This one, there was a time when I was really into things. I had time for things, and I would do things related to other things. But one of the things was, in the early days of like internet forums, I was using on this site called Elucia. There was a BBS. This was 1995. And there were people there, a couple of them were from Japan. And so they were talking about all the great music. They talked about the Final Fantasy games that hadn't been released in North America at that point. Like 5 was a notable one. There was someone who sent me tapes, audio cassette tapes, of Final Fantasy music, including the entirety of Final Fantasy Prey. And some of the stuff from Rudra no Hibu, which, or Treasure of the Rudras, which is still one of my favorite video game soundtracks. I listen to it a lot when I'm marking. Helps me concentrate. Yeah, good stuff. I remember listening to Final Fantasy Prey, and it was way before, like, anyone had access to that in North America. Now it's pretty easy to get. But, yeah, Final Fantasy Prey has a neat version of that song. It was my favorite song on that album, I think. It was called Au Palais du Verre, which is French for In the Palace of Glass. And it was called that, I guess, because that music is also played in an ice cave. I don't remember much about it lyrically. I just remember finding it I don't know, cool remix, cool song. Au Palais du Verre from Final Fantasy Prey. Collection of vocal and orchestral music from the early Final Fantasy games. I guess vocal music with orchestral accompaniment, it's not like any of the music was purely orchestral. There were some like that. There was one they released, an official, if that's a thing, called Final Fantasy Symphonic Suite. That one was entirely, I think, from the first 3 Final Fantasy games, or maybe even just the 3rd. I don't recall. Yeah, also, they always have these albums. These are, I think, fairly mainstream. I think anyone who wants to know about them knows about them. But they have these albums called Final Fantasy Piano Collections. And for a while, they had one for every game, and then they stopped for a bit, and then they released the Final Fantasy VII one, but very long after the release of the game. But I think for every Final Fantasy game, they have these very nice albums called Piano Collections. Some of those tracks, they're differently arranged from the game music, and usually pretty darn enjoyable. And it's odd. As a young adult, I was very interested in music, going to music festivals. I listened to a lot of like indie rock, but increasingly as an adult now, I find myself listening to a lot of video game music, and that's funny. Like it's more than I did even 5 years ago. I think it's because I do it while I do other things, and it helps me concentrate. There's probably a little bit of just nostalgia attached to it too. But I was talking earlier about listening to Bruja no Hivu, Ruja's Treasure of the Rujas, when I'm marking. I can't listen to music with lyrics when I'm marking. It doesn't work well for me. But I listen to the Treasure of the Rujas soundtrack, and especially Mega Man music. I really like a lot of Mega Man music. I think of it pretty fondly. I play Mega Man with my 5-year-old now. So I think of those tracks. There's a lot of really good Mega Man music. And a lot of good rearranged Mega Man music. I recently became aware of this fan project, Mega Man 2.5D. It's pretty neat. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to play it very much, but okay, we got 2 new things here. Interrupting myself. Copper Gauntlet. Nope. 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 And Silver Hammer. Wouldn't it be nice to have a silver hammer? Darn. I have a lot of money from those games. And I'll get more at the places I'm going to be going in the near future, actually. That's okay. I'll be squandering it all in spells soon enough. We are decked out. So everyone's armor is basically armor that any class can use. So my party's equipment options suck and are not interesting. I'm going to find a way to avoid that in future playthroughs. There's a free silver bracelet at the bottom of the Marsh Cave, but I don't want to walk to the bottom of the Marsh Cave for that. Considering I can get as much money as it costs by fighting one group of imps, I'm going to just ignore that. Okay, I have the Mystic Key. I should probably go to the Temple of Fiends and see about getting some special weapons, so we'll run into more imps here. Oh, and Corneria Castle, that's important. I said Corneria that time. I'd probably do that. Old habits die hard. The city in this game is called Corneria. Named after all the cons here. Garland, the invisible person. You know they're invisible for a reason. Iron staff, useless. Saber, useless. Silver knife, maybe useful? I would like it to be useful. That's useful. That's going to do good things for Luke. Hopefully he's not still carrying it at the end of the game, but yeah. Iron armor, useless. Iron shield. I have my dents. Okay. So my equipment at the end of the game is going to be pretty crappy. Now we are going to take a trip to the Temple of Fiends to get the 2 special magic swords, if you want to call them that. Luke with his silver dagger. Cap with his wooden staff that resembles a knife. Iron Man with his nothing. Thor with his wooden staff. He almost certainly can't equip Thor's hammer. Come on, guys, why didn't you account for this VYUOKITE thing when you were programming Final Fantasy 1? Not guys, Nasir. Gotta speak to Nasir. Nasir's still alive, right? I wonder if he's interested in what we do with this game. Nasir, if you don't have a relationship with him, is the guy who was a programmer on this game and did other work with Square. And he was, I think, somewhat a genius. He was the lead programmer on Secret of Mana also. And I don't know too much about his other work. But I do know in this game, there's a checksum related to only his name in the credits. And it's funny, but I guess that's a thing that in the video game industry was pretty significant at the time of this game's release. Staff being given proper credit. So if you start messing with Nasir's name in the game, it makes the game not work. Now people have gotten around that since, but just the idea that it's more protected than anything else in the game is interesting. And there's also, in Secret of Mana, there's a funny Easter egg that involves, call it an Easter egg, I don't even know what the point of it is, but I guess Nasir does. There's something where you like stand still and press the L and R buttons 255 times or something madness like that. And then the little bar where you're running percentage and you're charging shows up under your character portrait. It shows NAS. So he was sneaking in the first part of his name into a Easter egg in Secret of Mana. And then I say both games revolutionary, both games well programmed, but have serious issues with their mechanics. Both games have, oddly, the exact same problem with there are special weapons. There's kind of some programming there that should make them work, but it doesn't. All those special effectiveness weapons in Secret of Mana don't do anything at all. Some of them do. Some of the, like the status effects work, obviously, but and I'm not sure about the Mass Moon in that game doesn't increase critical hit thing. I'm not sure if that works or not. But the one where it says like extra effective against slimes and lizards, that doesn't work. extra effective against machines and spirits. That doesn't work. All those things. All those dragon weapons you get at the end of Secret of Mana, they don't work better against dragons. Which is fine, since there aren't exactly a lot of dragons in that game. There are some in the Pure Land, which is the place where you get the orbs to make the weapons. So basically you'll fight pretty much every dragon in the game by the time you get a weapon effect against the dragon, which would be great. Which would be stupid, except that it doesn't work anyway, which is also stupid. That is two wrongs making an also wrong. Luke's looking a little better. I wonder if it has to do with his weapon. We grabbed a couple of things here. I'm not expecting any of these to work, but it would be cool. And I don't think I ever got this thing over here. I think it's like a cabin or something. Among the good choices I've made as a parent, my kids love the Beatles. We play Beatles Rock Band. There's this show on Netflix called Beat Bugs that includes all these little bugs who sing Beatles songs. We listen to Beatles in the car. So my sons love songs by the Beatles, which is just wonderful. That was a very good decision I made in my life. I was just saying that because of my tongue clicking noise, and now I can't remember what song it applies to. What is it? My 5-year-old has started singing this, one of the Beatles songs, one of the very mainstream Beatles songs. Is it Day Tripper? Ticket to Ride? It's Day Tripper. He does this thing where, while he sings the song, he tongue clicks the percussion, like the beat, and at the part where the... Yeah, it is Day Tripper. I can kind of hear it in my head now. He clicks his tongue along while he is singing Day Tripper. And he does it in such a way that he doesn't interrupt himself. It's pretty tricky. I'm proud of him. So yeah, my 5-year-old son loves Mario games, Mega Man games, the Beatles. I don't think I loved the Beatles when I was a young kid. My dad was a big Beatles fan, though, and there were Beatles in the car. But I don't remember always singing along as a kid, knowing the songs. I don't know what the difference is there. I used to love the idea. I thought kites are fun. I would hear Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. I'd say, Dad, that's a fun Beatles song. Let's listen to Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. It's kind of weird. It's not the kind of song you expect a kid to gravitate to, but that was kind of the song I would always pick when I was young. Let's get rid of some of these weapons and armor. Sabre. I have a lot of money now. But if I buy everyone 3 level 8 spells, it's going to basically be gone, right? How's Luke doing? He's great. It's going to be fun when I get level 8 spells. The game's going to change a little bit. I wonder if I might want to go get the power staff. That could be pretty useful to this team. Nah, it's a long walk. Let's forget it. It's easier once we get the canoe or the airship. It's not like I'm going to have a problem. I'm finding this a little dry. I hope you're not finding this too dry. I mean, I don't know who's sitting through this anyway. No one's coming into my stream, but I'm not, you know, there's some amazing high-end stream guy. Not like my friend, what is he, Gamerdad TV. He is actually someone I work with, and he's one of the people who started making Twitch streaming sound pretty good to me. I don't think I'm as entertaining as he is. He's an amazingly entertaining individual. And he also plays modern games that people care about to some extent. I don't know what he's doing now, but his big thing, last time we were talking about this to any significant extent, was DayZ. But he always put on these personas and act like certain characters. Yeah. No, I'm playing retro games with some kind of novelty play mechanic is basically, I think, what you're going to get from me. Sometime I might try something new. I'm not trying to be boring. Hey, this is fun. If I go in this chair, you can see the chair. Sprite transparency, how advanced. Because they totally intended for your sprite to look like this. It's not exactly long play. I mean, it's not a vanilla game, so I don't see why I would talk to too many random NPCs. Sometimes I do, for fun. And there are really good NPCs in the Dwarf Cave. There's the guy who goes, "Hooray." Oh, that's Narek. I've never been introduced because I haven't been talking to NPCs, but that's Narek. I talked about him a little bit in my last run. And that was after the point where my audio was all screwed up, so if you were to go back and watch the Dwarf Cave part of that run, it wouldn't be terrible. Or it would be less terrible than the early few videos. By about video 4, by about the 4th episode, or segment, whatever I called it, things were pretty much worked out. That's a lot of treasure. Now, the only thing significant, we already have a silver knife, so just check the dragon sword. It'd be pretty cool to get a dragon sword. I mean, it's not effective against dragons, as I was saying shortly ago, but this would be nice, but I don't expect this to work at all. Not what I meant to do. Oh. I wonder, I guess they'll be able to equip ribbons and pro rings. Otherwise, endgame could be really bad. It wouldn't be undoable. I mean, Thor clearly has incredible stats. He's going to cap out his HP in the not-too-distant future. With his D0 vitality. And these guys have terrible stats, but they're gonna be okay with help from Thor and Cap. Anyway, yeah, this is kind of dry, but we'll get through it. Maybe I should turn on like a no encounters code at some point. That's got to exist, right? Or I can do this. I should probably do that more. No one minds, right? I don't mind. It's 11. I might want to be done. But you know what? We can get through here now. Let's go to the next. We can go to 2 towns. Why not? And why am I not doing this more? Get my first magic spell that Cap can actually cast would be nice. We may as well check some of these, right? I don't expect them to work, but may as well check. I wonder, I don't recall exactly how the bytes for equipment work, such that they determine which classes can use them. It must be some form of mask between that matches the original classes of the game. Because you're finding these people have equipment options that are a lot like, say, a black belt. As in, they can equip very little. Like that armor store. That'd be pretty great. Great if someone could equip the steel armor. Steel armor is very impractical in this game. In fact, I kind of don't even want to buy it, but I guess I will. It's really expensive. I'm going to waste $20,000 buying it. Buying it and then selling it, I mean. It would be cool, but I don't think so. Yeah, okay. Sell some armor. Nobody can use iron helmets. Nobody can use wooden helmets. Nobody can use steel armor. I've never got an iron gauntlet before. I think I'm going to buy everyone's silver bracelets, though, so let's do that now. It seems the game sorts this list for me a lot, and I wish it didn't. What's funny though, if it's, you know, the equipment is basically a mask that is based on the original classes in the game, is that literally the only weapon I've found so far that the first 2 guys can equip is a wooden staff. There's some really good magic here. The life spell would be nice. Everyone get life. Oh, Thor can get life. Cap can get life. Iron get life. Oh, Luke get life. Oh, crap. Okay, everyone get hell too. Oh, Thor can get hell too. Cap can get hell too. Iron can get hell too. Luke can get hell too, so that's nice. How about Fire 3? Fire 3 is a nice spell to Okay, out of money. But I got some good spells. Thor got nothing. Cap got things he can cast now. Life, Hell 2, and Fire 3. If you're not aware of what's going on with Hell 2, Hell 2 is short for Heal 2. It's not a Hell spell. And what a Heal spell is in this game is a slightly less powerful cure that affects the entire party. But Hell 2 is a little bit bugged, such that it's extra strong in battle, so it's actually a super useful spell. That's why I wanted Hell 2. This is going to be good. But I'm out of money, so maybe it's pointless to go to the next town now. May as well do what I need to do here. Golly. Shadows have a very high chance to strike first. They have very low damage potential. I don't know if their escape kind of coefficient is any different or not. The only thing notable about them is they surprise you and they can blind you. But as I said earlier, my people have probably very high resistance to status effects, so they're not very harmful. They get a sneak attack right on me and promptly do very little. I can fight giants for a bit to get money. Nah. Let's just keep going because we can. Keep going because we can. Yeah, with Thor and Cap's luck stats being what they are, I think running should always be successful unless there's some kind of mechanical reason we can. Why don't you go ahead and try and kill everything, guys? Oh. Oh, about the one that lived, not the others. Well, at least it's dead. That was not worthwhile. This is me fast forwarding a little bit because I'm getting tired and I guess bored. I really know how to sell myself here. Oops. This is the same battle again, speaking of bored. Iron up to 191 HP. How's your magic doing, gents? Thor's still gaining lots of magic. Oh, this is interesting. Cap gained a level 4 slot here. So maybe it'll fill up eventually. My team does still have very poor defense in general. But I guess it doesn't matter much. They have such huge HP and other factors that it doesn't matter. And so I'm not too concerned with survivability, and I guess that's why we may as well do this before we go to the next town. by this, I'm referring to the Earth Cave. This is the first of the Fiend's dungeons. So you fight your first kind of major boss here, but you have to do more than one trip. Also frustrating. You know what I should have done? I should have made sure I could buy a warp. That would have been useful. Warp is a spell that takes you up one floor, so if you cast it repeatedly, it lets you exit a dungeon. All that for a heal potion. Let's fight it again. These guys get good money, right? Cap has turned into some kind of red swirl. Oh no, he hasn't. Next battle, maybe we'll cast heal 2 in battle, get some health back for the whole team. That thing where I said heal 2 is especially effective is only an in-battle effect. I didn't even stop to watch it. I'm being sloppy. That's okay. This isn't the best streaming channel you've ever watched, right? One time I had participants. One time. One time briefly, and then another time more consistently. Why is Cap's HP so low? What happened? Should have been paying more attention. Yeah, that's really low. Like, he wasn't in danger or anything, but considering these guys only have 15 defense, 17 defense, absorb, probably better to keep them high. Okay, we got a chance to strike first, so we're gonna run. I do want to get the coral sword, but at this point I'm thinking there's no chance anyone will want to use it. Man, level 2 magic is terrible. A lot of magic in this game is terrible. The area of effect spells are really noteworthy, and it's partly for that reason I said earlier that targeting in this game is somewhat challenging. So the area of effect spells are they're time savers. I don't want to fight this poison factory. So the sprites and palettes seem to respond a little bit, possibly, to other circumstances like the enemy party. Kappa's turned into this kind of cool red flash. In fact, it's the Falcon Sam Wilson's colors, not from Marvel Cinematic Universe, but. Yeah, the combat here is silly. So, this sounded really interesting when Chase Extreme brought it up on the board. It's still interesting. I don't know how you make it, like, I guess I could just play with the speed up a little, but I'm not sure what the steps are you take to make a run like this interesting to oneself personally after the first little while. Or multiple playthroughs, and multiple playthroughs interested me. And now I'm starting to find this kind of dry, and it's funny because this didn't happen with that ban something run last year. I found that quite consistently entertaining, if frustrating at times. Well, maybe I'll take a break from this for the Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta, and then I'll feel okay about it. For now, let's get us a Ruby. And that'll probably be it for tonight. In a future playthrough, Ruby will be one of our party members. I like that someone thought it was a good idea to have a room that was just bats. It's closer to being in a real cave. Whatever, the bats are behind a door, okay? Bats can't open doors. Harm usually has a lightning-like spell animation. That thing with that beam and the other beam kind of crossing the beam. So all the spell animations seem to be changed slightly. I wonder if I get to whichever's index last, if it'll have a super buggy spell animation. All living things were born to die. And then undie. Fire. That didn't take long. I didn't even see what happened. Okay, got a ruby. So if you proceed from here, you find like a plate that blocks the way deeper into the dungeon. So we need to come back with something that will move the plate. So we are now leaving the dungeon in search of a plate mover. AKA unloading the dishwasher with your 2-year-old. Not because he's talented at moving plates, but because we broke a plate not long ago. And I do say we. I think it's fun when he helps me unload the dishwasher, and it's funny because my 2-year-old does it, my 5-year-old never does. But my 2-year-old always helps me unload the dishwasher, and I am a little bit panicked every time and very careful every time, but usually things don't get broken. Usually. But we did break a plain Corel plate not long ago. I could tell that he felt bad too. Oops. Oh, jeez, that was stupid. I don't want to fight that. Well, maybe I'll just cast magic, get rid of it. Still wasn't worth it, but I have lots of magic, so I should just shut up. Ooh, I did something. Ignore that. It's nice not getting poisoned all the time. I haven't got poisoned once, and it's probably got something to do with that magic defense stat I was talking about earlier. won't go for any treasure on the next trip. It'll be faster. It'll be a little more pleasant. Doors up to 636 HP. Cap 370. This level isn't crazy for this point in the game. It's probably a little high for especially an experienced person, but it's not nuts being level 12 at this point in the game. That said, being 600 HP is nuts at this point in the game. This is the Titan. This is his role in the game. You can see why they didn't bring him back in that form. Instead, they brought him back as a guy who flips the ground over on people. He was a ground flipper. Silver helmet. Any chance? That would be weird if this was equipable. These Avengers are the worst Avengers ever. Oh no. Yeah. Iron Man can't equip any weapons. The guy is a weapon. Well, I guess maybe that's why. No, that's not why. Yeah, if I could make them the way I wanted, maybe it'd be a good idea for a ROM hack. Yeah, you could come up with 12 Avengers and then you could eliminate the class change. Or you could make them like the classic and modern versions of each character. And Captain America would, I guess, equip shields as a weapon? That could be okay. Thor would equip hammers. Iron Man maybe wouldn't need anything. Maybe he would act like the Black Belt. You could also have them equip like guns, like you would probably want that for Black Widow, possibly Captain America, probably Falcon. Flying characters could have high evasion. You could make that fun. That was me getting the rod. I didn't need to give up the ruby to get the rod. You just use the ruby to give to the Titan so he lets you pass. Sarda gives you the rod for no reason. Is Sarda even mentioned by an NPC in the game? Like, how are you supposed to know about it? How does he know you? I guess he's a sage and he knows things, but it'd be nice if that were explained. Oh, Luke dead. I have a fix for that now. Ooh. I don't know if I picked the right spell there. Whatever. Ice is not known to be effective against undead, but I play by my own rules. Luke gaining a level now that he's dead. What's his HP at? 61. Cool. iron's damage is up to. I should probably look at that. So I'm going to wrap it up in just a minute here. Alright. Iron, damage is still 1. Okay. Cap. Cast life on Luke. Okay. Now let's use our house. And a cabin. That way we have some HP, we've saved our magic points. Thor's got lots of magic, up to 4. Cap's finally got some things he can do. Iron pretty well set out. It's gonna be nice to get level 6 stuff. That'll require some more money. I should probably just put an unlimited money code on, stop screwing around. I think that's what I'll do next time. I wish we had better stuff. Things would go better if we had better stuff. It'd be more fun too. Ah well. Well, it's all saved. I think I'll just be done for today. We'll come back at some point. This didn't seem especially fun, but hopefully there's some novelty in this for somebody. Or for me. I mean, really I'm doing it for me, right? This is my game playing time. Alright. See you.